That was a
Oh,
dangerous
you can really see it now. Can you see it?
Yeah,
No!
I can.
You're live. What are you
No,
doing?
I can.
I don't care.
Show
Just
them
like,
nostrils.
Well, even with the amount of zooming that we've got you on, times 10. It's like
Enhance.
just like a square of your face like
Does
this.
it have a head on it? Could I get it, you think, next
Oh.
week?
So, while there's kind of a pause, Gilwyn, the doors down below, because
Oh, this is legit.
Riley turned into a giant ape and climbed up. You were kind of like, when number one actually let
Guess
out
I'll
this
walk.
word, the door opened and you're kind of fumbling your way through the complex inside, trying to find the way, following the sound of conversation and sort of the energies in the air towards this meeting where you see the three in there, and you can join this. While there's that moment, there's kind of, that sort of pregnant elven pause of thought for number one, who's still definitely injured and actually bleeding from the mouth. And the burn kind of up the side of her face is still kind of like sparking with like the latent lightning magic. And she says, "Let me make one thing perfectly clear. If we assist you, our survival chances are 0. We cannot become part of whatever battle you want for Narashiro. All that we can do for you is not be with you, not be against you, not be neutral, but be completely unrelated. To lock ourselves away and do nothing." Number 4 says, "We can give you information. We cannot give you weapons of war because that would prove our betrayal, and I believe the Daimao is one even in death who would punish betrayal."
I think.
So in order to have your things, we're going to have to kill you.
Number 2 says, "For such powerful magic wielders, you have such an attachment to the material."
I think that information is very valuable. However, there are a couple of small items we have been after. It is reasonable to assume that we took these off your corpses when you escaped. Before we were forced to leave, when your automated defenses took the fight to us. Merely items not of war, but of use to us. It would be a great sign of our new non-friendship.
I feel that having you on our side could really bolster our chances at brokering peace.
Oh, inevitably. But we would all die, and everything that we have ever created would be turned to scrap.
Why? Why would you have to die?
Have you spent any time in Narashiro yet?
We can kill those that would kill you.
That is impossible. You would have to destroy the entire city or create such a powerful reform that would be essentially brainwashing the entire city. And trust me, I have looked into such a thing. It is not practical.
It would take time, but we are intending to depose those who would fight vehemently against the ideas of harmony and peace.
4 nods and says, "Yes." And it would be like many places in many parts of the world, where you might be able to make the grandest change, where there will always be hearts that are still with the old ways, and that will always happen.
Indeed.
And there would be someone who would track us down for helping you and would kill us. There would be loyalists to...
yes, I am not asking
Lefthura.
for any direct help. Not for us.
Yes, we are willing to trade information.
Yes, information. And information on certain things. You cannot help us directly, the risk is too great. However, if you were to help the Ronin, if you were to leak the information about some of your supply caravans, say some good quality metal was to be traveling through a region that is fairly undefended, and the Ronin were to catch wind, this would be a relatively low risk.
Which Ronin?
What was their name?
And this would be when 2 says, I think you misunderstand what it is we do here. But that is something, if it is for our survival's sake, we could definitely attempt. What we have, which is of great value to you, is the current location of some of the people you're no doubt looking to kill. Information I think would be quite hard to find otherwise.
Continue.
When Vale says continue, Riley will turn back into Riley with her hands on either shoulder of these women instead of in ape form.
My blade is still up against number one's throat.
Two kind of like jumps and says, "May I get to my maps?"
I will let go of my hands
She
from her
will
shoulder.
slowly walk like hands up over to a table and will kind of actually take a sketch of and point. Shelley and Gore, you will not find her in her apartments. She's left to the south. She has a plan that Lithura has given the heads up to because we can no longer do a full frontal assault to Thundrel. That was the goal, and that is still her goal. But Shelley and Gore is now leading a group to the south with the plans to enter a region known as the Savage Lands on the surface to gain large control there, large resources, and then use it as a outpost on the surface to take the civilized lands. It will take several centuries to happen, in best estimates. But should be quite hard to find. Her camp is here, and we'll straight up, point at a part on the map. It's quite a way south. They need to dig new tunnels up or find new tunnels, which alone is a long task.
Does this seem further away than anything that we've been?
Yeah.
I would say, how do we know this isn't just a ploy to get us away from the other leaders?
Because you would kill us. You would come back and you would kill us.
I'm just gonna incite that.
Yeah.
Just because.
She's telling the truth.
It's a natty 20s this session.
She then
I
kind of
rolled
thinks for a
so
bit
many-
longer and says, what we might be able to do before we go off the grid is send a message to her to bring her back to Narashiro. But there's no 100% certainty that she would listen to such a thing. We are not quite the best of friends.
I think you not being the best of friends in suggesting she come back might even be better. For you to reach out, it must be serious.
She'll nod. She'll say, if that is part of our terms, then we can send that message.
I turn to the group looking. I think catching them in travel is a better idea than catching them at a camp.
Indeed.
There are several other
agree.
things that we need.
Oh, absolutely.
Before we continue with this, I have a question. One of you was using an item, the one hidden behind the table. I assume, given that you were speaking, it was some kind of communication. What was said, and who did it go to?
Of course, it was merely an alert that we were under attack. Sent to the Daimao. So if we were to go missing now, it would look like we were killed.
Yes, as I suspected, but good to confirm.
She will actually motion to something that kind of looks like an art piece, but it's just a very smooth ring of metal kind of standing on almost like a sword stand, like a katana stand, and says, these singing rings are a network that allow us to communicate through the country. It was a smaller, more portable one. Directly to the Daimao herself. Well, to her. People who listen. She does not answer calls herself. Too important.
If we act on the information you're giving us, considering you've just sent them a lair, will that not look entirely suspicious on your behalf? Why would you do
Everything
this?
every usurper ever does looks suspicious in Narashiro. That is our way of life. It is up to every one of us to weigh suspicion against thought.
If it was the final message from one of the dying clones saying they are coming south next, there would be nothing that this clone would lose by sending it. However, they might gain revenge on their killer. It is possible that this would be believed. Indira, what was it we were after?
We need to be able to speak the languages down here.
Ah, yes.
I also have need, and this might not be something you can fulfill, but I have need of some mithril ingots, enough to forge a set of armor. I do not know if you possess them, but you seem to work with metal to some extent.
We do not keep mithril in-house. That is all in the forges owned by Veth, the War Strider. We often have it brought up to here, but do not have any as of late. We have been cut off from supply lines quite deliberately.
Of course, that would be too easy, but
How about what you're wearing? What's that?
This is leather enchanted to be more resilient.
I look at Serena, like, you want that?
no, it is of no interest. Thank you for the consideration, though.
When it comes to understanding other languages, magic that allows you to understand them is possible, but it is not something often asked for, especially by this is a test laboratory. We create new things. And she actually even motions to Gillen. He is already wearing something that allows you to speak the language.
Rest of us need to be able to speak with people down here.
It is not items that we simply store. We can have scrolls scribed to allow you to understand and speak a tongue, any tongue, but they are merely scrolls, and they are merely temporary.
Given that you have one such item, how long would it take for you to make a prototype,
Another one?
if possible?
These things are possible, but it would take time. Time we would be in our lab, which would be suspicious because we would not be dead.
Indeed. How much?
Possibly weeks, possibly days. We are down number, so our calculations are off. And plus, we are stuck with not the most efficient of us left, and those who are injured. It can be something we work on, and we can have it sent to you when it is done, but we'll have to flee from this place. We'll have to make some new laboratory somewhere else, which is fine.
That is very reasonable. If you are able to do that without undue risk to yourself, then we would appreciate it.
We can escort you and keep you safe.
That would be far more dangerous than handing us in as hostages.
Now, if you don't mind, we would like to ransack the place as if we had murdered all of you and looked for anything of worth. Please take anything you need before we do so.
Number 4 helps number 1 up, who is just like staggering, and will actually take a healing potion that is glowing red and feed it into her, which starts to repair her, stature, but that scar still remains. She still looks very badly injured, and will start picking up some things. You actually notice they take less blueprints and things like that, but little maybe personal trinkets, a locket, some books, things like that.
I hope that you will recall our mercy if time allows.
The only time that you will need to remember our mercy is when we don't show it next time.
Indira, there is no need to be so threatening.
2 says, that is not, I believe, what he meant. If your plan is successful, the mercy you've shown here is proof that peace can work, despite how threatening you act. We understand this. Don't we? And the other two are like, yes. A little less convincing. Well, number one sounds less convinced, but she is also currently healing.
You are very clearly intelligent. If you come by... If you happen to hear something that may result in a life or death situation for us, you hear of a trap, an ambush, then we would appreciate any forewarning. Yes, I understand that the likelihood of you hearing that is lessened by the fact you are attempting to appear dead.
One of them will, four, will actually kind of rush into the one of her things and actually hand out one of those tiny rings. I mean, by tiny, it's still like, 6 inches big, and will say, "It is one-way communication once, and it will burn into not very much when it is done. And please, if you are captured, please burn it away anyway. But we can use it to contact you if the noose is set. And we do catch wind of it. The best way to appear dead is to actually be in the city, as it turns out, so who knows what we might hear."
I mean, hey, on one hand, you're already dead.
They look to the two dead on the ground, one still sort of twitching. And there's just a quiet. And one will say, "Are we free to leave? Please take anything."
Yes, we're probably going to ransack the place quickly if you probably leave after that.
What do you want us to do with your dead?
Burn it. Burn all of it. And four will start helping one out, and two will head out as well. Kind of give a look back to Serena, and then head all the way out.
Let us check the place for anything of value, anything of worth. Make it look as if we are mere robbers, thieves, as if we got everything we wanted, and then burn the lab.
They're going to assume this was us.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it was us.
They'd assume right.
There's
That's
nothing
fine.
to assume. Yes, we take what we need and we leave.
If they are sending a message to Chelian, we need to make it look convincing, as if we slaughtered all of them, and this was the last message.
The only difference in our plan from how we had originally planned this is that 3 of them remain alive. The rest we can do as we had always thought we would.
Yeah, I guess I want to investigate this room. Yeah, everyone?
I started looking around. I rolled a 10.
Oof.
Give me
I'm
investigate.
going to roll so much better.
Let's give you an advantage, Will. I'll aid.
Okay.
I'm
aiding.
looking around.
I believe in you.
I'm probably finding a still active spider.
We so good at investigation, boys.
Wow.
My face was misplaced. You're all terrible.
There are a lot of things
Lucky
here.
me.
Go on, Dean.
Hmm?
Lock it.
Okay. Scooby Doo.
Yeah, this is like at least cheese use of luck as well.
Hey!
Overwhelming! That's 2 1s.
It
Luck the
seems
luck.
quite evident that this laboratory is filled with secret compartments and hideaways, and most likely most of them are magical in nature and going to be incredibly hard to find.
Secret compartments.
Secret compartments. Quite clearly, the 2 clones there are wearing enchanted studded leather armor. If anyone did want that, but I'm pretty sure none of you do. You're all
Just
interested
+1.
in better. It's +2.
I mean,
Oh, I
I
think
guess
that
so.
Might be better for me.
Oh, yeah.
Let me check.
Downside is Well, actually, that's not a downside. It shows that you killed her.
Studded leather armor.
You're wearing her armor.
It's +1, so I actually want +2 studded leather.
I'll have a 17 armor class if I put that on.
If you so wish to take it.
Feel
There
like
are
I
two
should
suits.
do that because I'm the one that gets up in faces.
Would that be better for you than your regular armor right now?
Studded leather is based off dex, so probably
Yeah.
not.
It would be, let me check. It would be 12 AC plus your dex +2.
Yeah. Okay. No good.
I mean, that
You
would
also,
put me at
while
16, I'm sure.
looking around, find that there is a scroll of the spell tongues on the table.
Oh.
There is also a crate. You see quite a lot of things in sort of canister form. And you can see kind of a reddish smoke inside it, and like it's kind of a long cylinder with a red glow at the top of the cylinder, like a red point that glows, and there's a note beside it that says, Manbreaker, to be delivered to Veth. She has the key.
Manbreaker.
Let's
So
just
red
pop
mist.
that in
How
the
big
bag
is
of
it?
holding.
It's a
Pretty
hair.
big. Yeah. Like person sized, but not quite.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Would that fit in the bag? I'm not convinced.
No, it probably might be too. Well, it's not particularly wide. You might be able to slide it in. You need definitely some pivoting, but yeah, you could.
No, you're left.
Pivot!
I mean,
Somebody do a sleight of hand. See,
No,
see
it's
if
just-
we can get it in.
and there's,
You
there's
given
no, like,
time.
There's no like notes about this written anywhere.
If they are, you don't understand them, right? There's a lot. There is a lot of paperwork. Just all of it is complete gibberish.
I was gonna say that we should put a bunch of blueprints in the bag of holding. We should take all that stuff so we can take it back up with us if we have to escape. And maybe people up there can decipher it, see what kind of stuff they're working against.
I mean, that's actually a
That's
pretty
a good
decent
thought,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just like shoving crap loads of paper in there. I mean, like, at least if worse goes to worse and we get back up to the surface, some intelligent person on the surface might be like, okay, we can reverse engineer this to stop their manbreaker weapon or whatever they're building, various things.
Could I guess I'd cast Detect Magic.
It's
See if-
everything.
Everything?
Everything
Yeah.
is
You
magic.
turn it on and it's like,
Oh!
Of the notes that you do understand, you can actually give me an intelligence check to try and decipher any of them. You know, while you're putting them in the bag. See just what comes out. If anyone wants to. You don't have to. You don't need to give a shit if
what
you
are they
don't want
written in?
I'm not a
to.
smart boy.
You don't know.
You know, I mean, if we can, I mean, I'll do it. I've not got any modifiers, but I'll roll the dice.
I also have no modifiers, and I know the most languages probably, so...
You know a lot of languages.
Go for it, Will.
Alright,
help.
I'll go for it.
Oh,
Can
will
he
with
assist?
advantage. Yeah.
Alright.
You don't pick up a
Those
lot.
13s.
+1 for my assistance.
Oh, I could have done better.
Well, if you still can. Like I said, if you're putting the notes in the bag, you can totally roll a check. You don't recognize a lot in
Yeah.
these notes. I mean, it's
Oh,
all
is anybody
clearly
assisting
arcane.
me? My
It
bad.
has to
Let's-
be a check.
Yeah, that's a save, not a check as well.
Oh.
Go on, I'll have a glance at it. Serena isn't very interested, but she'll have a glance at one or two.
Hey, you're better without the advantage. Doxy,
Nice.
you find designs that kind of look like a very ornate suit of armor, or perhaps, but at the same time, it kind of looks like, you know, biological studies, which you would have seen occasionally, which is named in Elvish Eve. That project. Of other things around, there's a lot on magical theory, particularly on the interrelation between soul and void magic. particularly being worked on by number 5. Of the rest of it is a lot of that similar stuff, trying to work out specifics of magic, trying to work out better communication systems, trying to understand the magic that mind flayers have. There's a lot of designs of them, autopsy notes, very recognizably. So even though these races are at peace, you see a lot of evidence that would prove to destable such a piece. Like that. Destabilized. Gone.
Oh no.
Someone
Whatever.
used Dimension Door on a whale. No.
But that's definitely the sort of an undertone you see in a lot of things.
I need to
You
go
see
to
the
this.
autopsy reports on mind flayers. You see autopsy reports on shadelings. You see similar things like that. Stolen gnomish technology reports.
Okay. I'd be like, see this? And like point, like I'd get in between probably Valen and Gil and
Smart boys.
and like point at like a picture of a like mind flayer all dead and dissected and whatever,
Yeah.
and be like, I don't think that they trust the mind flayers. I think that this suit of armor is designed specifically to work against them. And also something over here, something about void magic. It doesn't really make very much sense to me.
Cool. Should we put it in the bag?
Yeah, I just thought you'd want to know.
I don't think anyone trusts an illithid.
They do eat brains.
Mind flyer.
Indira will look kind of dejected and just scoop him into the bag.
Or Serena
It's the
pats
one
her on
time
the
Indira
shoulder.
gets to be a smart girl and everyone's like,
Once those two bugger off, Serena just pats her on the shoulder and gives her a slightly consoling look.
She's not stupid. She's intelligent. She's just she makes bad decisions. Like she makes stupid decisions.
with boys.
Everything. Why do you think I start every plan with I have a bad idea?
So
That's D&D, though, to be fair.
we should burn the lab and leave.
Nobody saw any money, food.
Reclusive scientist, probably supported by the Daimao, likely just has little need for money.
Well, why pay them excess money when you can give them just what they need to live?
Mhm.
That way you don't have to worry about them being able to run away anywhere. So
Then,
fire, yeah?
Yes, fire. Let me get a little distance away, please. I do not enjoy fire.
No one.
No, this is
here.
a big stone compound. You can burn everything in the lab. You don't
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
burn the
it
place.
just needs to be blackened, scorched, charred.
Yeah.
Indira will start pushing bookshelves and
Yeah.
tables into the center.
There is a lot of fine wood carpentry, along with the metal that you can kind of.
As
I'll just
Serena's
use this timber.
going out, she lobs a few shadow bolts at random things and bits of the wall.
Rupture them up.
I'll stand
Yeah.
near Vale. I'll stand near Vale as Indira's like, just like putting all the books together and be like, she just loves to bend things.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was just slave scrolls, but any writing on a piece of paper, she gets angry and just, must burn it, you know?
She just hates literature. It's a real
I
shame.
prefer theater. And she walks out past him.
Funnily enough, a lot of the books seem to be plays that she has.
Oh, we,
Are any smutty?
You can give
I
me
guess-
a special either investigation or insight for that, I suppose.
Insight to see if you get the double entendre.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? Like, you see the cover and you're like,
Yeah.
a lot. There is a lot of, quite raunchy, because it's in Elvish and you can read it, lesbian literature.
And one of them
He's gonna
gave
try to
Serena a
sneak
look
back
on the way
into her
out.
pocket. She's gonna try to sneak a few into her pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Undetected.
Well, I'm watching her, so do I see this?
Give me perception checks. Versus a 12.
She just like surreptitiously just like puts it in her pocket.
Yep.
Gilwyn
fuck.
doesn't see the smut.
You gonna luck it? You gonna luck it?
It's like, oh, we can act that one out together, baby.
Oh,
Gil has a wig in his bag. It's confirmed.
let's burn the place down.
All right. You can, with enough firewood and, you know how to burn things. You burn the place.
They'll light a candle.
Yeah, you
Guys
burn
around
it up.
gently lighting it.
And then Indira's like, oil, torch, boom. You leave seeing, you can actually see the glow of the fire from the windows, even though they're glamoured from down at the entrance when you're leaving.
I guess we should begin making our way south if we wish to find this Chelian on the road.
Better, I think. Catch them further out from the city.
And I guess we get to take the beetle some more, so that's nice.
The beetle is visibly excited when you guys are coming out and clearly getting ready to leave.
Oh, sweet.
I love
Serena.
scritches.
Yeah, Serena goes up, reaches up.
Pat him on his chitinous head.
Yep.
Anyone feel like that went too well?
Yes.
Yeah, we should have killed them.
No, I don't think so. I feel like I would not feel comfortable with myself had we murdered people pleading for mercy, who were not necessarily evil. You saw themselves that they worked on components for weapons, but their lab was mostly not for that.
Morally, we should not have killed them. Strategically, we should have killed them.
Strategically, they're going off the grid. If they show themselves now, questions will be asked about whether or not they bargained with us. How did they come out of it alive? There's no way out of this for them.
Vale, they are so much smarter than anyone here.
Well, I don't agree with that, I'll be honest. I mean, it depends what you mean by smart. If by smart you mean I could have killed every one of them in that room, then no. Because yes, I could have. But yes, smart, if you think because they negotiated they were smart.
I think she means smart in the typical, smart sense.
The thing is, they said themselves, Drow are suspicious by nature. If they come out alive fighting us after they have been believed to be killed, then they are as good as dead.
I agree with Vale. I think not killing them was sensible.
Ultimately, if they have betrayed us, we will find out when we head down towards Chelian, and either no one is there or there's a whole battalion of Drow samurai waiting for us.
There would have been a whole battalion of Drow samurai waiting for us either way.
Well, we don't know how many people. We don't know.
Well, if Chelian is making an expedition to the Savage Lands, then it is safe to assume she is surrounded by fighters. Not that it really makes any difference.
Bearing in mind that new tunnels will have to be dug, the need for a fighting force would not be huge to guard and clear out the tunnels. But once that initial bit is done, they would not need to keep a huge force there necessarily.
At any rate, we have our heading. What is done, regardless of the morals or strategy of it. We should move on.
Onwards.
Shame they didn't have any gold, though.
Shame they didn't have any mithril. It would be appreciated if you could keep an eye out for, say, dwarven caravans on the way. Although I doubt there will be any on this direction. But
Cool. Head off.
Okay. So the plan is to head to sort of below the city where you think they will travel up from.
If I draw on the map, if we presume Chelian is like down here somewhere right now.
Give me a second. Oh, look at this. It's all set up right. People are in the wrong place, but who cares? Yeah. I just wanted to show them the map. The audience.
If we
of
presume
people.
she's down there, this is a long way from anywhere. So there would only be one road leading to Narashiro from here. We could assume. Because why would there be more roads? In which case, we could situate ourselves somewhere decently far from Narashiro that reinforcements would have no way of arriving in time, and it would be out in the wilds, but we would also still only be on a single road, because as you get closer to Narashiro, the road would presumably split here to go to Abanir or the walls of Abanar, whatever. So we would go further enough south that there'd only be a single road that they would be traveling along, and also to be further enough away that reinforcements have no chance of getting there.
You don't think they'd travel off-road?
I think it's unlikely. She's a high priest, right? I bet she's going to want to travel in a carriage.
I'd say it's also relatively unlikely if you're going to be moving a reasonably large group of people.
You would
the
also
road
need
is
carts,
going to-
wagon,
yeah.
that sort of thing, and it does expedite travel, doesn't it? And that's a relatively long way. Probably a long way by Underdark standards, we'll say. On the other hand, you could assume that like travel from Narashiro to Abanir isn't just that straight line, because it's like, ooh. But I would say it's a relatively long way.
I mean, you went, like, here in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's quite a long way.
I mean, basically, the plan
2
should be to
2.5
go slightly south of Narashir and then just
Basically,
head down the
yeah,
road.
set
until it
yourself, like,
becomes a
on that
single
road and then come down
Yeah,
and
and
meet
then
them.
just head down. And
That makes
if
sense.
we get to a point where we're happy, we can just set up an ambush and wait.
I'm never happy.
Alternatively, we can meet her on the road, but we'll see.
Luckily, camouflage is pretty easy down here. We could
Yeah.
very easily set up a base
Yeah,
that would be hard to detect.
yeah.
If you find, like, a really nice defensible position. Or offensible, I suppose, as the case may be.
Hopefully both.
Okay, that's a good idea. And, in fact, a good deal of that travel we can just sort of do right now. You have plenty of time to think and, refine your plan of like, oh, maybe we go all the way south, or maybe we just go on the road, or maybe we try and find somewhere. In the 3 weeks it takes you to get back to Narashiro. And it's actually going to be quite a bit less than that.
Sorry to interrupt. I do want to have a roleplay moment, like shortly after the fight.
Go ahead then. I was going to say if there's anything
Like-
that you'd be happening on the way.
Yeah, on probably like an evening when we're camping down for the night, and when Vale is maybe reasonably alone, at sort of around the campfire or whatever, Serena would come across and sit down next to him. Unusually, she's not actually going to summon the throne. She's actually going to sit down in that way that, like with her tail out, hands on it, and say to Vale, I find myself rather impressed. You truly do possess a nobility about you.
Where's this come from, Serena? It's not like you to talk to me this way. Or anyone, for that matter.
I give praise where praise is due, and in comparison to most of the fools I've dealt with in my life, this party is positively positively affable. I merely say it because I have made a comment or two before, and you have seemed confused or not fully understanding. But the way that you carve your own path, you make your own decisions, you are not beholden to the whims of others to any great extent. I respect that. That is the noble way to live. You could have very easily continued slaughtering the artificer, as perhaps would be expected of your kin, but you did not.
Phil would like to sit down next to you. I have never been one to follow the trend of my people. And apparently that has led to some form of notice from our god. I presume what I am doing is right then. However, I would not say I act beholden to my god, like you say. Maybe you should consider acting how you want.
No, sorry. If I sounded like I was saying you were beholden to your god, no, that is not what I
No,
intended.
I
but-
understood.
Okay. I do not. I am not beholden to act in any particular way by my mother, either. I
No?
follow my own path to one extent or another. Admittedly, at this moment in time, I am following rather than leading, but it is a path I have chosen myself, nonetheless.
Indeed.
And no doubt, my mother would not be greatly impressed with me accompanying one of the Sun on such a mission as this.
Perhaps that is a good thing. Perhaps it is time for you to have a small change. Think about it. You treat others like tools, as if they are unimportant. There are very few you enjoy the company of. Indira is one of them. I believe Gilwyn, I, and Riley are growing on you. However, when we first met, I fitted carefully into that hole. I was merely a tool to be used, and quite an arrogant and annoying one at that. Perhaps you should give others a greater chance.
Most people are fools, Thale. That has not changed. And
Fools tend to enjoy honey more than vinegar. Or in your case, wine more than vinegar.
I suppose you have a point there, indeed. But
You may be shadowy on the outside, but there's no reason for your heart to match the exterior.
you seem to think ill of me, and that is perhaps justified. But I would say that I have only ever followed what I wish to do. If you wish to know more of what I have done, you should ask Indira. Despite what it might seem, my most common pastime in Tran was assisting the ships and sailors there. It was not murdering them or whatever.
No, perhaps not, but you did that for fame, fortune, adoration.
And is there something wrong with that?
No, merely you might find that you could enjoy an equal amount of satisfaction by understanding that you have helped people. Perhaps. I too was the same. Anyway, I appreciate the praise, Serena. You are a powerful caster, and a good ally. And I would not wish to lecture you more than I already have.
Not many people get to lecture me, Vale. Most of them would sooner walk out charmed or worse if they tried. Consider yourself lucky. She grins and gets up and moves off.
He gives like a small nod. He'll take that as a kind thing.
Okay. So it's actually not going to take. It wouldn't have taken so long to get back to the city. But you're not
We got a
going.
beetle on the map.
Beetle!
I love it.
You're not going all the way back to Narashiro. In fact, you're kind of looping around it. And the roads are very easy to do that. That's kind of the point. It's
Like a
actually,
farmland road, yeah.
It's also a direct parallel to a radia. With kind of rings coming out and out and out.
The Ring City, yeah.
Of course, these are less travelled and less lived in. Most of the folks you see out here are slaves, blah, blah, blah. You've heard this before. But it's quite easy to basically go on a road around the city, travel quite a bit faster because you're travelling on proper roads, and head to the south side of Narashiro. It takes some time. And these roads are actually way better maintained. You imagine slightly to the south and east, the ways facing the Dwarven kingdoms. These roads are quite well maintained. But you get the impression, Vale, who knows these kinds of things, that these were maintained for war, not for peace. There are towers that stretch out every now and again from the sides of the road. Much less of this is designed for farmland. There's a little bit more fortification, a little bit more deliberateness.
Are the towers manned?
Seemingly, there's like always light coming from the the top floors of them.
Okay. And for like a vague inkling of distance between them, is it like every few miles?
It would be every few miles. There would be there's definitely a math to it. In the very
they can still just about see each other.
It would be that where you will reckon, based on your military expertise, right? When you're on the top of one of those towers when it's lit, you can just see, assuming good conditions, the other tower. Of course, the conditions aren't the greatest while you're traveling. It actually goes. You know what? I take that back. It actually goes from not the greatest conditions to pretty nice. Because you go from the dry season to the warm season. One of the things you wouldn't even necessarily completely notice at first. But there would be one day while traveling, kind of while looking at these towers, traveling on roads where there are much more people. These are the sort of roads that have micro settlements around them where people stay. And Vale, most likely these settlements are almost supply points for military as well as people who live here. But it starts to rain. It starts a warm and gentle rain one of these days that Scritches is very happy about.
I bet Serena is too.
Serena's very happy about. And as you march on southwards to find a good place to ambush or maybe even find Chelian's people, this is a great place for us to finish off for today. 1 target down-ish. 2/5 of a target down, I suppose. But
that went well.
Yeah, you did some shenanigans. But why don't we talk about the shenanigans that you get up to at other times? Neil, who are you? What do you do? Etc.
Hi, I am Neil.
Hi, Neil.
You can find me at Twitter at naghai_ or on the Discord at naghai. I am the.
You were going to say resident Weeb Empress there, didn't you?
No. I was.
I felt that.
I am the longest playing in like both consecutive, but also overall time.
In overall time and consecutive time, yes.
So I know quite a bit about Yav, and it's a really cool world, and I'm quite fond of it. So don't fuck with it, kids. And if you have any questions like that, you should go to the Discord, where you can ask all sorts of questions to do with D&D and Yarv in general.
The last question that's been asked, or last statement, is that 5e needs a sex warrior class. So that's the discussions we have.
I believe,
And in the Book of Erotic Fantasy, there it exists for 3.5.
Wow, that's something.
All I remember is that there's a class called the Holy Virgin. That's all I remember. I know there's other classes, which I guess is the opposite of a sex warrior, but still.
And you can also find me on twitch.tv/Delric for a Pathfinder Kingmaker campaign. Kingmaker, not the module, the style of game. And that is on Wednesdays at 1:30 BST.
Okay, next up is Will, whose internet died, but you should check him out, by the way.
Oh yeah, let
He's,
me find
Be strong for mother.
Thanks, I hate that. No, you made that much worse.
I
You're
like that
welcome.
a lot.
He does good stuff. Check him out. But who also does good stuff is Ian.
Hello.
How you doing, Ian?
Oh, hi, Ollie.
I fell for it.
What's up, Dean? What do you do?
Oh, you are talking to me now.
Yes, I just wanted to give you a heckin' bamboozle.
I'm making a new album. Look, I was touching that earlier and I did music things on it.
It's slightly off camera. There we are. That's a That's a guitar.
It's so old, the name's rubbed off of it. Anyway,
That's how you know it's good.
new album's probably about 2 months out. Maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. Go to Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp. Just search Dean Cutsforth. 2 names. Both names. Not all names. Bye.
Ian, you can do better than that.
Our bard, everyone.
I have a way with words.
Hello, I am Ian, aka Arvine, aka whatever the hell you want to call me. Resident Weeb Empress of the Oliverse Discord. Ask me about anime, ask me about Yarv. I am slightly less intimidating than Neil, but I've played nearly as long.
I'm not intimidating.
Your
So,
big dick energy
Neil-
scares people away.
only when I got dice in my hand.
Yes.
When I don't, I shrivel.
Neil plugs for Discord.
bad.
I plug for Patreon. Subscribe to Ollie's Patreon for $5 a month. You get access to another 2 games, one of which features me and Neil playing very different characters,
Very different.
which is a lot of fun and a lot of shenanigans in that game as well. So yeah, peace out.
I really wanted to, like, when you were like, Neil plugs the Discord, I plug the Patreon. I really wanted to get off, bend over and show my bum and say, you plug this.
And that's when Maggie shows up. Maggie, sweet innocent Maggie, and you're talking about your bum.
like covered.
Maggie is not innocent.
Hi,
She is-
Maggie.
She is not innocent.
Oh,
You know
got
what?
you,
I'll
Maggie.
agree with that.
Would you like to see Neil's bum? I know I would.
On Patreon for $5 a month. Zoxy, who are you? Where are you? Where can people find you?
If you want to see my bum, I posted a pretty good picture of it on Instagram yesterday. tracking my fitness progress.
You remember, guys, go follow Doxy's Snapchat for a premium Snapchat story.
I am not above that. I'm very poor. Pay me
Good.
money, I will send you spices.
Wow.
Twitch.tv/DER0DOXY. If you really do want to follow my fitness journey on Instagram, it's at HellaciousMalacious. I will put that in the chat. That's
And you should.
Twitter.com/CERODOXY.
As a big fat, I enjoy watching other people get healthy.
Yo, my butt is fire though.
What did you eat?
Oi. But last and most certainly the best is me. If you like what I do here, there is plenty more. Not only is there this show, which is going, there's also the sister show that
I like
takes place
calling
on
it sister show.
Sundays at 12 p.m. BST or 12 midnight BST. I don't remember if midnight's AM or PM, whatever it is. So it's always the wrong one.
It's AM. It's AM.
It's AM. 12
It's
AM
12 AM.
BST, which takes place in Narashiro as a bunch of not quite common folk, noble folk who live in the city, and kind of you get to see ramifications of the effects. And actually, Tanuma was a very important character.
She was ramified hard today.
Yeah. As Ian said, this show is supported by Patreon, $5 a month. There are 2 extra shows. They're really good. I would recommend checking them out. They're a much more chill experience, and they're audio only, so just, put them on while you're doing the laundry or whatever regular humans do. And you should join the Discord. There's actually not very much going on my Twitter right now, because pretty much everything I'm doing I can't show you. But there are hashtag big things going on. And any other time I'm not... Any other time... Are we just horny tonight or something? What's going on?
Yeah.
I mentioned...
I'm corny every night, baby.
I mentioned
Let's go.
you looting smut books, and now
This.
an unstoppable tide of lust.
You also mentioned the
Oh, you
sex
said
warrior.
horny. I'm also horny every night. Let's go.
Corny and horny would also be a great username for Doxy, yeah.
Accordion.
Put that on a shirt. I'm also playing Hollow Knight anytime I can do another stream, and that is like a nice chill experience. That's
It's
also
quite
actually
nice.
on YouTube if you want to catch up with all of it, because I recommend watching that all. If you haven't played the game and like I'm never gonna get time, I recommend watching my series on it, because we have a good time and it's pretty chill and introspective, and that's what it's all about. But what it's really all about is friendship. And that's why I'm glad to have you all here. That's why Will got disconnected, because he's not my friend. And we will see you next time.
Which rip Will? F's in chat for Will. Come on, guys.
Right.
That's not an F, Doxy.
See you later.
That's a